This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Mins.
The bars rattled, and she couldn't sleep, but this was hardly the place to complain about such things. It was the wind. It blew with a ferocity that managed to pierce the concrete and filter through to the bars of the holding cell. It was more of a cage, the steel meshed together like an industrial-strength chicken coop. No officers had passed her in quite a while. Time marched on. She was aware of its presence from the click of a second hand on the display face mounted to the wall opposite. She was unlucky enough to have her cage facing its deafening click, click, click. "Yo, girl, you there?" came a voice from the neighboring cell directly behind her. They shared a wall. She listened to him shift on the shelf that passed for a bed. She hadn't realized he was male. Maybe he wasn't. She supposed they didn't separate those in custody based on gender. This wasn't a prison, it was a remand center, a holding cell. They were awaiting a hearing. The separation would happen later, once a conviction was upheld, which, in her case, was inevitable. "I'm here," she replied, against her better judgment. "Yo, do you know when we're gonna get some food down here?" he asked. "No," she said. "How'd you know I was a girl?" "What's that?" "How'd you know I was a girl?" "Cops told me." "Why did the cops tell you that?" "I don't know. I asked them, 'Who's in tonight?' They said, 'Just you and a girl.' I asked, 'What'd she do?' They told me to shut up." She stayed silent, satisfied. "So, what'd you do?" he asked. "Shut up," he laughed. She reclined back on her hardened sleeping bunk. No blankets to block out the wind that continued to howl. The LED lights illuminated the precinct in an almost neon green hue. She longed for her sleep mask, with its eye padding and cushed exterior. She longed for a decent night's sleep. She had been arrested while unconscious, lying next to the body of her former husband as he bled out. It had been a blissful sleep. "You got any smokes?" he asked. "They frisked me on the way in, genius," she said. I know. This your first rodeo, though, ain't it?" he asked. "I can tell. See, you don't know the tricks of a place like this." A rattle beneath her bunk stirred her upright. She looked down to see the outline of a concrete block shifting outward until the facade popped free. A hand emerged from the crack, holding up a freshly wrapped cigarette. Contents unknown. "Relax," he said. "They won't walk these halls for a couple hours. Not until someone else gets arrested. But it's a Monday. Always quiet on a Monday." She reclined her head once more. "I'll pass. Thanks all the same." "Suit yourself," he said. "Could you do me a favor and place the brick back into its slot? See, the less they know about the little tricks of this place, the better it is for people like me." She raised herself up and slid off the bunk, kneeling beside the exposed gap. She gripped the block by its edges, ready to push it back, when she saw his face, a young man with his cheeks pressed against the floor of his cell. "Hi-ya," he said with a grin. He pushed himself up and reinserted his hand for a handshake. "Name's Pip." She gave it a high five instead. "Regina," she lied. "Nice to meet you, Regina," Pip said, retracting his arm. She placed the block over the hole and gave it a firm kick with her unlaced sneakers until it slotted into place. "I make experiences," he said. She didn't reply. He pounded on the walls. "You hear me, Regina? I make experiences," he shouted. "Yes, I heard you," she said. "You name it. Audi, Mercedes, Ferrari, Porsche. If you want to ride in it, I make it happen," he said, exhaling a puff of smoke. She watched as the draft carried it into the crevices of her cage. She soaked in the aroma and regretted not partaking. "I've stolen hundreds of Porsches all over town. Those are my favorite. No one can pin them on me. No one believes I can even handle the cars. Beat the charges every time." Another audible drag on the cigarette. "How do you beat the charges?" she asked in a huff, taking the bait. She was bored. There was nothing else to do. "I got a good lawyer," he said. "Lucky you." She closed her eyes, attempting to drown out his voice with meditation. Him, the wind, the ticking clock on the wall. All next to impossible, especially given the inevitability of his questioning. What do you do when you're not locked in here? He asked. You ask a lot of questions. I got a lot of time. No, you don't. You've got until 9 a.m. when the courts open and the judge hears your bail application. That's 2 hours and 45 minutes from now, she explained. You know a lot about court processes. You a lawyer or something? She raised an eyebrow. No way he'd deduce that from what little she had shared. She instantly sensed a setup. What makes you say that? She asked. Just the way you speak. Like, all proper and bullshit. Plus the way you know the court, how it works. He was lying. My husband was a lawyer, she explained. Makes sense, he said rather quickly. So tell me about these cars. Why do you steal them? She asked. Oh, look at you. All of a sudden, you want to know how my game operates? Why the sudden change of heart? Well, you said it yourself. I'm bored. Well, you've only got 2 hours and 44 minutes left in here. You could ignore me if you wanted to. Maybe I don't want to ignore you, she said, humoring him. All right, I'll tell you mine, if you tell me yours. She thought it over and smiled. Deal, she said. Okay, so my buddy down in Paladeza has this universal remote he programs to get into these secure houses. See, he works for the company that installs high-end security codes for mansions all over the boulevards, the Palisades, the Avenues of the Stars, all that bullshit. The trick to the whole charade is to hit the houses 3 to 6 months after installation. Sometimes, even a year, the more distance you put between the install and the hit, the fewer suspicions you arouse. It's beautiful, he explained. So, you don't know what cars are in the garages? You just gamble? She asked. That's right. We take a punt, and 9 times out of 10, it's a good one. I steal the machines using another device we install when they bring the cars in for service. He continued. Wait a minute. I thought you didn't know what cars you were stealing? She said. His story was starting to unravel. We don't. But you just told me you implant a device into the cars when they're brought in for service, she said. She could hear his breathing shift. I don't. My buddy does. So your buddy installs these devices so you can access the engines and drive them out of the homes, presumably without any alarms going off? She asked. Yeah, exactly, he said. And you said earlier that you've hit hundreds of homes in high-profile areas, places filled with wealthy operators. She continued. That's right. And you said it was hundreds of cars? Ah, yeah. And no one thought to set up CCTV, catch you in the act, have the prosecution make the charges stick? She pressed. No. I mean, yeah. As I said, this ain't my first rodeo. I'm in here all the time. You just saw me, right? I know where all the secrets are, he said with a laugh. But you beat the charges? Yeah, every time. Right, she said, the picture becoming clear. I know now why there hasn't been an officer walking these halls for 3 hours. I know why you were placed next to my cell. And I know why there are booby traps allowing you access to this holding cell, she explained. You're crazy, lady, Pip said. She heard him recline in his bunk. I am, she admitted, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. I killed him because every night he would rub his affairs in my face, she continued. It got to the point where he didn't even bother to hide it from me or from my daughter. I gave up everything for him. And when he finally let me go back to my profession, I gave up my love of environmental law just to concentrate on his criminal enterprise to make sure every activity he had an interest in was RICO-Proof. Look, lady, I don't know where this is coming from, and I'm not interested in... Cut the bullshit, she yelled. I know you have to do what you have to do. It's business. Business is business, as he would always say. But I just want you to know that for me, it wasn't business. It was personal. He had affairs. He hit me. He ridiculed me. My life was put on pause for him. The night he died, I slept the most peaceful sleep I'd had since I was a baby, and it was glorious. Whatever you do to me, just know, I will be happy to return to that slumber. You'll be giving me a gift. She slumped on the bed and began to cry. The door to the main hall unlatched, and she heard the steel swing open, its echo spreading through the precinct. Footsteps approached, stopping just behind her cell. She heard the keys rattle as they unlocked the doors to Pip's cell, the metallic clang of a key turning. She kept her head in her hands, soaking up her tears. When she finally looked up, brushing them away, she saw two uniformed officers standing beside Pip. They glanced at her before proceeding to unlock the cage. "We heard you were asleep when they found him. We didn't know if it was you or not," Pip said. "It was me. By God, it was me," she replied. She had always known there would be a price to pay. She just hadn't known when or under what circumstances. A laugh escaped her lips as the last piece of the mystery revealed itself, and with it, the anxiety of not knowing finally disappeared.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.